That's Isack Hadjar, the kid who crashed out of his very first Formula 1 Grand Prix before the lights even went out. Now imagine crawling your way back from that humiliating moment, while 4 other rookies and the most stacked midfield in years are trying to steal the spotlight. Yet this rookie goes from crashing out even before his first race begins, to now outscoring both of Red Bull's second seat drivers in 2025 within just 8 races. This is why I believe that Isack Hadjar is the most underrated driver in Formula 1 right now. 20-year-old Isack Hadjar debuted recently for Racing Bulls in the 2025 season after just losing out on the F2 championship at the final event in Abu Dhabi to fellow rookie Bortoleto. Somehow, even though he lost the F2 championship, he still managed to get a better drive in Formula 1 than the actual F2 champion. However, his debut race would end in embarrassment, mainly because he didn't even start it. Hadjar would crash out on the formation lap similar to Lance Stroll at Brazil in 2024. This made the rounds as headlines spread and memes surfaced. Hadjar had become the laughingstock of the F1 fandom even before the first lap of the season. Whereas most people in this situation would let the noise get to them, Hadjar stayed resilient. With advice from Anthony Hamilton, Hadjar now finds himself in a position where he has scored more points this season than both of Red Bull's second seat drivers combined. Hadjar has bounced back with some solid results for the team, scoring his first points in Formula 1 at the Japanese Grand Prix with an 8th place finish, followed up by a P10 in Saudi, a P9 at Miami, and then his best result so far, a P6 at Monaco after he capitalized on a smart strategy combined with clean driving. This is even better than Carlos Sainz, whose best result this season came from Saudi Arabia, where he finished in 8th. In terms of consistency, Hadjar has been steadily improving. After that blunder at the Australian GP, he's been qualifying mid-pack and usually keeps it clean on the Sunday. While this doesn't always result in points, it's done wonders for building up his confidence. In my last video on how Verstappen has cursed Red Bull, I highlighted that one of Red Bull's biggest issues with their second driver is confidence due to a high pressure environment mixed with one of the best drivers to step foot in a Formula 1 car being their teammate. Hadjar hasn't had to deal with that, so while others are fumbling under the pressure, Isack is picking up valuable experience not only as a rookie driver but as a team leader due to the recent swap between Yuki and Liam. Around about the same time as the swap was happening, Isack Hadjar stated, "I just love it so much and I'm just committed to it. And that's why a tough hit like Melbourne is not enough to bring me down because I love driving and giving my best. It's not my goal to prove people wrong, but I hope that it's been visible here." So far in 2025, Hadjar has finished every single race that he started, barring the DNS that he picked up at Melbourne, has consistently been in Q2 and has a top 6 finish and is currently P10 in the driver's standings. The only other drivers in the midfield who are actually having a better season than Hadjar currently is Ocon and Albon, men with a combined 14 years of racing experience at the top of single seat racing. I know what you guys are probably thinking. What about Kimi Antonelli? For me personally, the only factor between these two rookies are the car that they drive. Kimi Antonelli is currently driving for a team that is in P2 in the championship, whereas Isack Hadjar is driving for Racing Bulls, who is currently in P7. Despite that, Antonelli has only scored in 5 of his 8 races, and he's had a lower, worse finishing position than Hadjar. What I mean by that is that Kimi's worst finish, not counting his DNF at Imola so far in F1, comes from the Monaco GP, where he finished in 18th. Hadjar's worst finish so far has been 13th, which he got at Bahrain. So with a lower, worse finishing position and similar consistency with their overall finishes relative to the car's pace, I would argue that Hadjar is having just as good, if not a better season than Kimi Antonelli. In recent memory, you would usually find 1 or maybe 2, 3 if you're really lucky, rookies on the grid at the same time. For 2025, we have 5 different rookies. Going back to Kimi Antonelli, he has had a great start to Formula 1, becoming the youngest pole sitter in any format and consistently being in the top 6. He's also shown signs of quality in his young age. Being at the best team of all the rookies has definitely highlighted him more than anyone else, but just like Hadjar, he has stepped up to what he's needed to do. There's definitely been some rookie errors throughout the season, however, one even coming from the Monaco GP where he would crash out at the end of Q1. Now, since I've already compared him to Hadjar, let's just move on. Next rookie up, Ollie Bearman. Bearman, I believe, is the only driver on this list who already has F1 racing experience, which technically means he shouldn't be classed as a rookie, but it's my video, so I'm going to count him. Bearman in 2025 currently sits in Haas with Esteban Ocon, and has had a few point scoring finishes, but nothing really to write home about. With only 4 points separating the two teams in the championship, Hadjar is the main reason for that with Racing Bulls, whereas Bearman has been lacking behind at Haas. Jack Doohan and Gabriel Bortoleto, as brutal as this may sound, aren't even worth comparing to Isack. Doohan has already been moved down to a reserve driver for Alpine as they scramble to get something out of this 2025 season, and Bortoleto is driving the worst car on the grid. Comparing Hadjar and Bortoleto in 2025 would be like comparing Norris and Russell in 2019. Both were rookies, but Norris was driving in a car that could score points pretty regularly, whereas Russell was driving a tractor. And yet somehow he would still make it to Q3 on certain weekends. In summary, Hadjar has had a good balance of hardships and consistent experience battling for points to build a solid foundation as a driver in Formula 1 and potentially may see himself at Red Bull at some point. As we've seen, Isack Hadjar's rookie Formula 1 season has been a tale of steady improvement and growing confidence. After the DNF in Melbourne, he has settled into a groove, scoring points on multiple occasions, achieving a standout 6th place finish in Monaco, and running close to the front of F1's ultra-competitive midfield. When compared to his fellow 2025 rookies, Hadjar stands near the top of the class, only losing out to Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli on statistics alone. For fans of the Frenchman, perhaps the most encouraging sign is that Hadjar seems to be learning and adapting every single weekend, the hallmark of a successful rookie. He's cut out the big errors, is constantly gaining speed, and even showed strategic race intelligence as evident from Monaco. The Racing Bulls team and the wider Red Bull organization will surely be taking note of Hadjar. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you rate Isack Hadjar's rookie season so far, and do you think Red Bull will be looking to get him in that second seat soon? If you want to learn why I think Hadjar joining Red Bull now would ruin his career, then make sure to check out my video on how Max Verstappen cursed Red Bull on the left. If you want to see who would have won the 2024 World Championship between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen if Formula 1 only had one lap races, then make sure to check that video out on the right.